Welcome back, outdoor minimalists. I accidentally flicked them off. We're gonna start over. He's gone. Welcome back, outdoor minimalists. Today I'll be overviewing the do's and don'ts of winter backpacking / winter camping. Do make sure you have appropriate footwear. So my preference for the hike that we went on is just a fully waterproof boot. Right here, there she be. But I did bring micro spikes just in case it got really icy, and because the traction on these boots is not always the best. So other appropriate footwear for me in the winter time includes my feathered friends, little, what are these called? Down booties? Yeah, I like these for winter camp shoes. They're not great for like walking around, but in the winter, I don't spend a lot of time outside the tent once I get to camp because it's dark and cold. So these are really great to have just to insulate your feet a little bit more. You can wear them with or without socks. I prefer to wear them with wool socks, but they're an excellent option, especially if you're like me and your feetsies get cold.
Don't forget a piece of critical gear at the car and not realize it until you already get to your camp and then have to turn around and go get it, turning your 3-mile quick jaunt into a 9-mile hike.
Do bring emergency fire and like fire starting equipment. So we brought 2 lighters. Both of them worked mediocrely in the cold, but luckily we were able to start our stove with some sparks from the lighter. I also brought backup matches and like emergency fire starter that would help ignite a flame, because we want to be able to start a fire, like a full fire, not just on our stove, in case we get wet or cold or we're in some type of emergency. And since there is snow all around us, then a lot of our fuel will be damp. So that will allow us to start a fire in case we need to get warm. Okay, do have a 4-season tent, and so some of the main differences between 3-season and 4-season is that it uses thicker materials and it has slightly less ventilation than a 3-season one. If you use a 3-season tent, you'll probably notice that most of the body is mesh, and on a 4-season one, that is not the case. It'll just have a few vents at the top and hopefully at the bottom. And then a lot of different areas to like open and close to manage ventilation and condensation inside the tent. So 4-season tents tend to be heavier because they use more fabric and less mesh, and they should trap more heat, and they should have less ventilation, but hopefully enough to avoid condensation. Do bring the appropriate sleep gear. So I have the Nemo Sonic 0-degree bag, and the low last night was somewhere like between 19 and 21 degrees Fahrenheit. I also had a sleeping bag liner. Sorry, Jinx, I disturbed her. And this probably adds like 10 extra degrees to my bag. I probably would have been fine in a 0-degree bag, but better safe than sorry. I also have a winter sleeping pad, which has additional insulation inside of it. So essentially the R value is rated higher for colder weather.
Don't have 0 pairs of socks in your life and need to borrow 1 wool pair of socks from your friend to bring backpacking, and then get that wool pair of socks wet and don't have any other options for socks. And also, Don't get up in the night to go to the bathroom, open the rainfly, put on your shoes, come back, take off your shoes, and forget to zip the rainfly again, only to find that your shoes have been filled completely with snow in the morning. And they're your only option for footwear.
Okay. Do make sure that you layer properly for the terrain and climate and weather conditions that are upcoming. So if you look at me now, I currently have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4 layers on, not counting my shell. I'm only wearing my base layers on my pants right now, but for hiking I was wearing like a snow pant. So if you're not layered properly, you're going to be miserable. So just commit to the layering.
Don't use what little water you have to make tea and then put that tea down in your tent and roll on top of it in your sleeping bag and spill it everywhere, all over your things and your friends' things and your dog's things, and get everything much wetter than it already was by just existing in winter.
Speaking of layering, if you bring your tiny cute, which is a dog, then make sure you also bring the appropriate layering for them as well. As you see, my lovely model Jinx, she is wearing a puffy jacket. She mostly just wore this in the tent and around camp because she got a little bit cold. And then my dog Leo is a husky, so he would prefer to just be naked in the snow.
Don't eat Impossible Whoppers on your way to the trailhead.
Because you'll get indigestion and maybe throw up.